Okay, grade 11. So let's do lesson 2. Now this is more or less what you will get in the exam. Lesson 2 or lesson 3, where we have existing business with a balance for its provision for bad debts. Now, we're still working with Cunningham Traders and their financial year. You will see now that we're now at the end of the next financial year. So we're now at 2018. It's an established business. It already has a provision for bad debts balance of 800 Rand. Okay, my adjustment says provision for bad debts must be adjusted to 5% of the outstanding debts on 28 February 2018. So in the next year, at the end of 2018, the balance of my debtors control was 17,200. And if I calculate 5% of that, 5% of the 17,200, you get an amount of 860 Rand. Okay, now at the end of last year, we provided for the bad debts 800 Rand, and now we have to adjust it to 860 Rand. And how are we going to do that? Right, so let's look at the general ledger. Now you will see in the general ledger, the provision for bad debts now has a balance of 800 Rand that was carried over from last year at the beginning of the year, and now we're at the end of the year and we have to adjust this. Now you all see that it has to be 860. It is at this stage 800. How are we going to increase it? 2018 February the 28th, and we're going to say provision, because where are we going to get that 60 Rand from? It's going to come from our pockets. It's going to be an expense. Provision for bad debts adjustment and 60 Rand. Right, and we're going to debit provision for bad debts adjustment 2018 February 28th, and we're going to write provision for bad debts. Remember, you have to write this out. We're going to do this in the general journal and 60 Rand. So in this case, the provision for bad debts is only an expense of 60 Rand. How do we do this in the general journal? What did we debit? We debited provision for bad debts adjustment, provision for bad debts adjustment was debited, and the amount was 60 Rand, and this comes from N3. And then provision for bad debts was credited over there only with a 60 Rand, and this is B9. And the narration is just provide for bad debts 5%, whatever. Just check in your workbook or in your textbook. Right, the effect on the accounting equation exactly the same as the previous one. In this case, it's just minus 60 Rand. It's a negative. Assets decreased because it's a negative asset. So just go and check negative asset. You can check that in your books on page 204, 5 over there. You will find, I think, 206. So just check that. And then this also minus 60 Rand, because provision for bad debts adjustment is an expense. Why is it an expense? Because we had to increase the 800 Rand to 860 Rand. So we had to add another 60. And where did we get that? From our pockets. It's part of my expenses. Okay, that was lesson 2, and lesson 3 you will see going to be very easy. Thank you, gents.